Waldo is now live streaming Just Chatting. Did the SCOTUS do a little coup? Getting started in just a minute. Toss any links to stories into the Discord. Discord. https discord gg beignet tridix 8.
Oh, hi. Hello. How you doing? My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel politics with you. How you doing today?
Where's
How is everybody?
Waldo?
Hi, KVP. I'm right here. How's it going? So, if you read the stream title, I'm going to be a little grumpy today because I think that the Supreme Court has done a little bit of a coup. I think they just took over our entire country. And so not a pleasant stream today. Maybe I'll be in a grumpy mood. It'll be fun and I'll be silly. But I don't think it's good news. Honestly, not good news. But we might start with the super fun debate that happened the other day. I was reading up about it. And I think there's a good chance. So let's do good things first. Mr. Joe Brandon. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting so excited. I'm so excited to talk about the news. My name is Waldo. I'm here to talk about the politics with you. If you want to talk about politics, hop into the chat, hop into the Discord, which is right here. Tell us what you're thinking. Tell us what you're feeling. Send links to stories that we can look at and talk about, and I'll put them up on screen, and we'll feel them all out together. Today is Saturday, so what I'll do is I got a whole list of links to look at and go through and stuff like that. If you want to contribute.
Lost you there, Waldo.
Oh, did I? What's happened? Did I stop talking, or what's the matter? Did the stream go down? Seems like it's still okay. Yeah, all the streams are still up. I think this is a you problem, KBP. We're just going to blame you, since everything seems to be going well. I got lost a little bit. Okay, so everybody watched the debate. Everybody had an opinion about Mr. Joe Brandon and his terrible, no good, very bad job that he did that day. I'm calling for an open convention. Honestly, that's what I'm saying. Did he do a bad job? Yes. Did he tell the truth more often than Donald Trump? Yes. That doesn't matter. Debates are not about determining what is and isn't true. That's not what debates do. Debates sell your side to the people. That is their purpose. Their intended use is to convince the people to support you. Did Joe Biden do that? No. He did quite the opposite. He convinced a lot of people that he isn't capable of doing that job. Donald Trump didn't gain any supporters from his debate performance. Joe Biden did lose some. And in a very close race that those two were already in, they were already deadlocked at like 50-50. Biden just lost support. So I suggest an open convention. Convince all of the Democratic senators, there's 50 of them, go and meet with him and convince him and say, sir, we need you to step down or we're going to lose the Senate. Donald Trump is going to win. the presidency. We're going to lose the Senate. They're going to have the House. And they will absolutely destroy what little is left of the government. We'll get to how the SCOTUS destroyed the government here in just a minute. So yeah, if the Democratic senators went to him and said, hey, drop out, we'll get someone better at the convention, we'll hold an open convention, and we'll let people decide what's going on there, I think that would be a good idea. That would be democracy. That would be the people. The people told you what they want, and you're respecting it. I think that's a good thing. I think that's how democracy ought to work. They did not hold an actual primary. The DNC did not hold a primary. They usually don't, and that's okay because Joe Biden was elected. Great. He ran a primary. He won that primary back in 2020, and he gets to then try again in 24, and that makes sense. I'm all right with that. But now we have issues. Now we have doubts about his capabilities. And those doubts lead us to want someone else. Wish both of them would have spoken for their plans for the future instead of regaling of the past. Yeah, I know. They're old. That's the thing old folks do, is they talk about the good old days. They talk about the past. They talk about how things used to be. That's fine. I agree with what you're saying there, Souls. What I think we need to do to move forward, because that's what I look at.
Where are the young Dems?
Where are the young Dems? They're all complaining about Joe Biden. The young Dems are all complaining about him, saying, please stop bombing or arming Israel, because they're just doing an ethnic cleansing. Stop doing that. Do some forward progress things. Drop out if you're too old. The young Dems don't get any play, don't get any respect, don't get any time on the Democratic Party because they're not in charge. It is a gerontocracy, you know. There's the oldest people making all the decisions and forcing all the young ones to shut the fuck up. That is where the DNC is right now. You've got your AOCs and your Jamal Bowmans and your young people, but they don't get respect from the DNC. They don't, because the DNC doesn't like them, because the DNC wants to be still. They want to be status quo. They want to not move. Be still. Don't move. This is the most comfortable position we will ever be in, and the future is less comfortable for us, so don't move to the future. Don't move to the past, because we weren't in charge then either. We are the ones in charge right now. We will hold this power in a death grip. And that's what you get with the DNC. That's what you get with Biden right now. Death grip on the reins of power. So I suggest...
Gerontocracy is good.
Gerontocracy, yeah. So I suggest that the Democratic senators who are going to lose, we are going to lose the Senate if Joe Biden keeps up. If he does not step down, I think he will lose to Donald Trump. They will lose the Senate, and we will have a Republican president, House, and Senate. And they will absolutely implement every bit of Project 2025. The court stuff is only going to make it worse. And the country will look shockingly different than it does right now. The only people who are happy with Biden as the only choice against Trump are the people working directly with and for Trump. Absolutely correct.
I mean, it's bad, but good wordage.
Yeah. This is absolutely true, Jules. The only people supporting him right now are the people who are working with him, benefiting from him being in charge. The people telling you that he's great and super and awesome are the people who work with him and for him and will go back into the White House. They work in the White House now, and they will continue to for the next 4 years, assuming he wins. They won't be there if there's an open convention and someone else wins. They might get replaced by a new administration. They don't want that. They are also in the death grips of power. They don't want to lose out the nice cushy job they have right now. And that is very typical of the DNC. It really is. That is a thing that they do often. And it irritates the shit out of me. We should be moving forward. We should be talking about what's going to happen in the future, not standing still, doing the status quo, and fighting to stay exactly where we are. We should be steering towards the future. I make the joke all the time that politics is like driving a car. You put it in D to go forward, and you put it in R to go backward. That doesn't apply anymore. You put it in P progressive to go forward. You put it in, if you want to sit completely still, hire the Democrats. They're the neutral party. Neutral. Stand still. Don't go anywhere. Do not move. Do not pass go. Don't roll the dice. It's not even don't pass go, don't collect $200. It's don't roll the dice. The DNC, that's their new headline. Don't roll the dice. Do not play. Sit still. Be static. And that's sad, and I would like them to not do that. Maybe, if enough of the D is for donuts. Good call. Maybe, if the senators reach out to Biden, they can convince him to step down. That is the first step that must happen. There can be no open convention if Biden doesn't step down. So it's all up to him. So I think that that's the most likely case, is that he does not step down. The senators do not rally together and bother him and tell him and bully him and say, you cannot do this. We are going to lose. It's too important. So if they don't do that, then he won't step down. There will be no open convention, and we will get Joe Biden. And he will go into another debate, and maybe he'll be a little bit more pepped up for the next one.
Are there no progressives?
The progressives aren't in charge. They get no respect. They get no authority. They get no value within the Democratic Party. They get nothing. They are expected to fall in line. And if they don't, they get AIPAC money pushed against them. That's what happened with Jamal Bowman, a progressive, in the New York, I forget which district it is, but there's a New York special election happened just, our primary that happened just this past week. And he lost to a middle-of-the-road Dem who got millions and millions and millions of dollars in AIPAC money. The progressives lose because the Democrats don't support them. The Democrats do not want progressives to win. They are an unhappy, the Democrats aren't happy with progressives. They take their votes when they can and then tell them sit down and shut the fuck up. That is the way it has always been for the progressives. The AOC only wins because she's absolutely fantastic and everybody likes her. They like using her to get messages out if it's the approved DNC message. If she says something progressive or too far forward thinking or thinks about tomorrow, they tell her no, shut that shit down. So that's where we are. I want an open. I wanted them to run a primary. You know, I called for that a year ago. Run a damn primary, but they didn't. Because I recognized why they didn't at the time. But after the debate performance 2 days ago, it was a mistake not to run a primary. Because we would have seen this a year ago. If that guy had gotten up onto the stage and argued with the other people running for the DNC, we would have seen this a year ago. And we would have done something about it. And the people could have chosen a different candidate. They could have. But now it's a bit too late. Now we have to take extreme measures to get a different candidate. And if we don't, we will lose. Whole country goes down the shitter. And I'm not even kidding about that. I think that, honestly, Donald Trump gets a House and a Senate. Fascism. Authoritarianism. The rule of law is gone. It's already kind of gone because of the Supreme Court, which we'll talk about in just a minute. See? Wink, wink. Nudge, nudge. Stick around. Watch more. And this isn't good news. It's not a good day for democracy. It's not a good day for the country. Everything is going wrong. And it's going wrong because half of the population wants it to go wrong. They do. Spiteful. The Republicans are. They want it to go wrong because they don't want it to go wrong. They want to be in charge. But I think that the things that they're pushing for and the things that they're suggesting are wrong, are incorrect, are dangerous, are chaotic. We are more chaotic today than we were a couple of years ago. More chaos. Not less, more. More chaos, more instability, more crumbling infrastructure, more hollowed out middle class. More people doubt the government today than they used to. And that's not because of progressives. It's not because of the left telling you that they're doing a bad job. It's because the right lies to you and it feels good. Bullshit is delicious, and reality tastes like shit. Because that's what I got today. A bunch of reality. And it tastes like shit. Let's see. What links do I have open? Let's look at some of them for the Biden stuff. So let's look at, let's look at Biden. To serve his country, President Biden should leave the race. I agree. He should. President Biden has repeatedly and rightfully described the stakes of this November's presidential election as nothing less than the future of American democracy. He's right. Donald Trump has proved himself to be a significant jeopardy to that democracy. Absolutely. An erratic and self-interested figure unworthy of public trust. Yep, he systematically attempted to undermine the integrity of the elections. His supporters have described publicly a 2025 agenda that would give him the power to carry out the most extreme of his promises and threats if he is returned to office. He has vowed to be a different kind of president, unrestrained by the checks of power built into the American political system. The Supreme Court just made some of those checks weaker this week. The president appeared on Thursday night as a shadow of a great public servant. He struggled to explain that he would accomplish in a second term. He struggled to respond to Mr. Trump's provocations. He struggled to hold Mr. Trump accountable for his lies, his failures, and his chilling plans. More than once, he struggled to make it to the end of a sentence. Mr. Biden has been an admirable president. Under his leadership, the nation has prospered and begun to address the range of long-term challenges, and the wounds ripped open by Mr. Trump have begun to heal. As it stands, the president is engaged in a reckless gamble. I agree. He is gambling with the country. If he stepped down and someone else replaced him, would they do worse? I don't think so. I don't think we could get any worse than what we have. I really don't. I think I call for Gretchen Whitmer to be, that's my guess anyway. That's my prescription for success here. The senators go to Biden, convince him to step down. He steps down. We have a whole tearful fucking goodbye. Great. Broadcast the whole thing. Make the entire convention about how great he was. Talk about how fantastic he was. Suck his dick. I don't care. Make him happy. Make him feel good. Have a tearful goodbye. Let him give the speech. Let him give a couple of speeches. And everybody there just fondles his balls. It'll be great. I don't care. But after we do all that, he steps down and they put somebody up. I think Gretchen Whitmer would be good. She would bring Michigan in. She's a lady. She has strong abortion chops. She could argue that point with Donald Trump in a very good way. Then Donald, and she's a spring chicken. She's only 50. We call that a spring chicken in D.C. Fucking 50. That's a baby in D.C. terms. She's 30 years younger than Donald Trump. She could argue with him a lot better. The next debate would be gigantic if this happens, because the next debate's in September. So the DNC thing is happening in August. We have that much time to convince him. That's how much time the Senate Democrats have to convince him to step down. Then the convention happens. A whole bunch of people say a bunch of nice things. They have a vote. We get somebody else, probably her. I would like it to be her, but it could be, it very well could be fucking Gavin Newsom, who I don't fucking like, but he's fine. He's a Dem. He's a neolib. It's better than the fucking alternative. And then the next debate happens in September. So that'll be giant news. Biden out. Biden willingly steps aside. Gigantic headlines. Huge headlines. Huge. The biggest headlines. Then we get the September debate. And somebody new, somebody young, comes up there and absolutely trounces Donald Trump. That will lead to an explosion of excitement among the Dems, among the middle, among the people in the center. They would love that. They would love to see that. That would make them happy. That would make them excited. Then that Democrat would win. And the senators would win. And they wouldn't lose the Senate. And maybe they pick up a few seats in the House. That would make them all happy. But they don't generally do that kind of stuff because it rocks the boat. Dems don't like to rock the boat, man. They don't. Progressives want to rock the boat. They want to change things. They want to make things better. Dems don't. Neolibs do not want to rock the boat. They do not want to move. You must sit still. Status quo. Do not roll the dice. Let's see. What other links do we have here? Calls for Biden withdrawal are a sign of a healthy Democratic Party. I think so, too. The party that's rallying around a convicted felon, whatever he may do, is the one to worry about. I agree. Rallying behind Joe Biden, no matter what, is not a good thing. That makes us into zealots. I don't like zealots. Stop being zealots. The right is a cult of personality that continues to intensify its unwavering support for its presumptive nominee, who is a convicted felon and a habitual liar, a man who indicted a violent mob to overturn the election, and whom courts have found liable for sexual assault and banned from doing business in New York. Yeah, they will support him no matter what. That's not democracy. If Joe Biden does a bad job and the people want someone else, they should get someone else. That's how this whole system's supposed to work. We want someone to represent us. And if we think that Joe Biden will do a bad job, we can tell you that. That's the point. This whole damn thing is supposed to work. I think he's going to do a bad job. Please pick someone else. But he has defenders, and we'll show them right now, because he gave a cool speech the next day, apparently. Here's a minute of him being cool. The man took a nap and grabbed a cup of coffee and then started talking better.
About the fact that 40 out of his 44 top advisors, including the vice president, aren't supporting him this time around. The people who know him best, 40 of them said, I will not support the man I work for this time around. It tells you a lot about the person who knows him. Look, he lied about how great he was on crime. I had to remind him that he oversaw a record increase in murder rates in 2020. On my watch, violent crime has hit a 50-year low. There's more to do with a 50-year low.
You could have done this during the debate.
And then I pointed out that the only convicted criminal on the stage last night was Donald Trump. When I thought about his
That's not Sleepy Joe.
I know, that's not Sleepy Joe.
His sexual assault on a woman in a public place is being fined $400 million for business fraud. I thought to myself, Donald Trump isn't just a convicted felon. Donald Trump is a one-man crime wave.
Where was that during the most important fucking debate?
And he's got more trials. He's got more trials coming up. Well, the time for that. Look.
Where was that?
We need to call on the Candyman.
The Candyman, right. He could have done a better job. Is it a mistake? Did he just have a bad day? Maybe. Maybe he just had a bad day. But the optics look bad. Having a bad day might ruin his chances to winning. Him having a bad couple of days could actually lead to Donald Trump winning, the Republicans getting the Senate, and keeping the House. That's what it could lead to. So we need someone who has fewer bad days. I'm not being crazy when I suggest that. Let's see. We got one more over here. I think it's Lawrence O'Donnell, very big lib. We live in a country where most commentators declared the liar of the debate a winner. I don't want to watch his whole video, but that's his point. The commentators, myself included, said that the liar was the winner. Oh, oops, I didn't have him on screen. Let me start this one over again. This is Lawrence O'Donnell, gigantic lib, super neo-lib. He's sometimes right about things. But according to him, we live in a country where most commentators declared the liar of the debate, the debate winner. Yes, debates aren't about finding out who's right and who's wrong. Man, are you new to this whole politics game? That is not where you determine what is correct and what is wrong. Not in a debate. Absolutely not. Debates are where you sell the people on yourself. You sell the people on your party, where you convince them that you ought to be in charge. Donald Trump lied his ass off, yes, but he's a much better salesman. Always has been. It's his whole thing, right? He is a car salesman. That's all he's ever done. And is he saying true things? No. Is he lying to you about the car he's trying to sell you? Absolutely. Is he lying about how much spaghetti you can fit in this bad boy? Yes, he is. Absolutely lying about that. But if the people believe it, because they want to believe it, they will vote for him, and he will be in charge, and he will get the power, and he will get the authority.
So much spaghetti.
So much spaghetti. It's true. He's lying to you. Donald Trump is lying to you about how much spaghetti you can fit in this bad boy. He's lying to you about it. He's saying you can fit so much spaghetti, but it is not true. There are holes in the floor. The spaghetti will just fall right out. And it's much smaller on the inside than he is claiming it is. He's lying to you. But if you want him to win, you will believe those lies. You will become a zealot for him. You will absolutely accept the false bill of goods that he is giving you. You will believe the things he's telling you to believe because you want to, because it benefits you to do so. Until it doesn't. And even then, after you've been tricked, that's the worst, that's the best time for a con man, is after you've been tricked, you convince yourself that you haven't been tricked. I've seen this 1,000 times with con men and stuff like that. If you get robbed by a con man or stolen from, most people don't want to be wrong, so they will ignore and lie about having been robbed. And they'll say, no, it was fine. It wasn't a big deal. It's not a problem. He's actually being truthful. He's not. So let's see. Is there any more Biden stuff? No, that's a different thing. And this is a different thing. So, let's talk about the Supreme Court. They have just pushed out a couple of decisions this past week. They dropped them on Friday. They dropped some on
Reference
Tuesday.
any flavor of cryptocurrencies.
Any flavor of cryptocurrencies, yeah. I mean, there's only 3 jobs left in the country. OnlyFans model, crypto scammer, and live streamer. Those are the only 3 jobs left within our system. So I can't do the first. I don't want to do the second. I won't sell crypto. I don't want to be a OnlyFans model. And so live streamer is my only choice. Press the subscribe button. Press the follow button. So, yeah, the Supreme Court. They came out with a wild-ass thing. I put out a video about it last week, but they made bribery easier. They did. Bribery is now much easier to accomplish now because of the choices that the Supreme Court made. Yes, it was to cover their own asses. They want more of those bribes. They like having those bribes, and they would like more of them, please and thank you. So they just made it legal to bribe themselves even more. It's super cool and not a problem at all. What could possibly go wrong?
Gratuities, please.
Gratuities, please, yes. So what do we have? We have this one right here. Nope, not that one. There we go. Let's start with anti-bribery. Supreme Court limits the scope of anti-bribery law. So this was a couple of days ago, and I talked about it once already, but the Supreme Court on Wednesday ruled that the federal anti-bribery law does not make it a crime for state and local officials to accept gratuities for acts that they have already taken. This is bad. Brett Kavanaugh did this on purpose because he wants more bribes. He wants to be paid more for the choices he made. The question came in a court and in a case called James Snyder. Well, I covered this and stuff like that, but it was a $13,000 check. Kavanaugh suggested that it shouldn't be illegal to pay your, okay, let me start from here. Kavanaugh says giving somebody a signed book or something along that line isn't bribery. And I can understand what he says. Taking someone out to dinner. If you are a student at a public college and you buy your professor a cappuccino from Starbucks, that's not bribery. And I agree with him. That's not really bribery. I'm on board. Nobody was prosecuting that because it's not a crime, you see. The court system wasn't bogged down with people buying.
It's legal because they didn't hand them a canvas bag with dollar symbols on it, then a nod and wink are shared.
Right. And even that afterward might be legal. The justice system, as it stands right now, is not bogged down in cases where people bought somebody a framed photo
It's
of the
just a
time they
phase
did
tip
something
jar.
together. Right. They didn't. It's not bogged down by that. There's not a whole thousand.
Your boy
there's not thousands
Biden
of
is
people.
cooked out.
Yeah, he is. He's wrecked. I hope he gets replaced by somebody else. But the justice system right now is not bogged down by cases about people being bribed over a cup of coffee or a signed book or a framed picture of the time you did a thing together. That's not what's happening. They are actually looking into a $13,000 check. That's bribery. That's not what happened in this case. This case wasn't about one guy buying a different guy lunch. No, absolutely not. It was about a $13,000 check that was asked for and given because he made a decision. This makes all bribery of all political officials much easier. And it will happen more often. If it's easier, it will happen more often. Lobbyists, do you like lobbyists? Nobody does. They just got empowered. They're better off today than they were yesterday. There will be more lobbying. There will be more bribery. There will be more people paying the government to make decisions for them. That's how it happens to happen now. That's how this will end. The Supreme Court has made buying politicians easier. They have made lobbyists more powerful. They have removed the barrier to bribing judges, themselves included. All of them, not just themselves. They have removed the authority of government agencies to make decisions and given that power to judges. Judges now rule our country. They can be bought. Do you have enough money to buy a few judges? I don't. If you don't have enough money to buy a few judges, it's their government now. And it's not ours. If you have no say in how their government operates, it's their government, not yours. And this is bad. This is real bad. Bribery, way easier now. Biden's cooked, yeah. You're going to get Trump. Yeah, we might, armed with opinions, we might get fucking Trump because Joe Biden has done such a shit job. And they're not going to replace him. If the DNC does not replace him, we will get Biden. We will get Trump. Yeah. And the entire country is going to go to shit because of that. So, yes, we made bribery more accessible. I don't have the money to bribe a few judges, but somebody does, and it's going to be the coal companies. It's going to be the oil companies. It's going to be the giant corporations. It's going to be Amazon. It's going to be Twitter. It's going to be Elon Musk buying judges to rule in the cases that they want. Bribery it's going to be the church. Absolutely, KBP. The church is just going to start paying all the judges who do what they want. If you do what they suggest, they will pay you afterward. And that's legal now. It's okay. What could possibly go wrong? And this is because the Supreme Court wants more bribes. They want more bribes. They expect to get more of them. And they will receive them. Because they made this decision. The lobbyists are going to pay more to your senators, pay more to your House of Representatives. They will stop listening to you. What do you give them? A vote? Fuck you. What value is that? There's no monetary amount attached to a vote. Maybe. You could start selling your votes too. Tax-free donations to tax-free bribes. Yeah, exactly. God, would votes fall under this? I'm being way too far forward. But if I did a vote and got a gratuity, would that be illegal? Probably not, because they'd attach it to a vote or something like that. But I wouldn't be surprised if that pops up. That's a question we now have to ask. It used to be illegal to pay people to vote, but maybe it's not anymore. Maybe it's not illegal anymore. Nobody fucking knows, because the Supreme Court has caused chaos again and again by abandoning the laws that we had in the past. They cause chaos today. How do they rationalize it? They rationalize it by saying, Kavanaugh rationalized it by saying that it's not illegal to buy your professor a dinner at the end of the year. It's not illegal to buy somebody a cup of coffee when you're speaking to them. It's not illegal for a lobbyist to bring a lunch to the meeting with a representative or invite them to lunch and pay for it. They say that's not illegal, and I'm on board for it. But if that's not illegal, then nothing is illegal. Then $13,000 checks, because this case was about a $13,000 check. That's not a lunch. That's not a gift card. That's not a cup of coffee. A $13,000 check for making a decision as a politician is bribery. But they've made that illegal. They've made that legal. If you're not paying ahead of the vote, paying before the vote is bribery. Paying after the vote, that's fine. That's acceptable. Conservatives will resort to legalizing bribery and empowering underhanded professions like lobbying to get their way. Yeah, Congress can make it illegal. Yes, they can, kissing Gonzo. That actually could happen. Congress could pass that law. You think they will? God, no. They'll never do that because they're about to get paid too. Why would Congress pass a bill to make it illegal to bribe Congress? They're Congress. This makes paying Congress easier. This makes paying Congress better and more effective. They won't vote against that. They won't even vote against insider trading laws. You know, they trade with insider information all the time because it's beneficial to them. And when people point that out, they put a fake little rule in place saying that it wasn't allowed anymore. And then they overturned that rule quietly a few months later because they don't care. They're getting paid. They're getting rich off of this. They're getting those bribes. Why would they listen to you anymore? You're not bribing them. You're not paying them. They're going to stop listening to you. They're going to stop listening to me. They're going to stop listening to everybody who isn't paying them. Let's ask Congress to answer the question. Congressional leadership who's brave enough to put the question to them that will receive a satisfactory answer. They will simply side with Kavanaugh. They'll say, oh, we can't do anything about it. Sorry, I'm just going to keep taking these bribes. And the court said it was okay, so it's fine. Judges, congressmen, and bills up for auction for public to bid on. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Whoever pays me the most. How much can you... It's a gratuity. It's a tip afterward. So if you do X and get tipped, you will do X again. And then you'll do it again to get more money. It's a thing. And yeah, this is capitalism run amok. This is what I talk about all the time. I complain about it all the time. Capitalism is running amok right now. Money solves everything. The laws based on morals. Money, regulations keep the population safe. Money, right. Money, 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 money. It's all about money, SpongeBob. Money, 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 money. I want to ask my senator about how they feel about this exact thing. They might tell you that it's bad, but then they'll just you'll ask them a difficult question, and the lobbyist will pay them thousands of dollars. Who are they going to listen to? This is the problem of money in politics. This is why everyone who pays attention has been crying about how much money is in politics. We don't want that money there. It corrupts people. Money is the corrupting force within government. Get it out of there. And this is the exact opposite. This is more money. This is more corruption. This is more bribery. And it will not stop. I don't know how we stop it. I'm being very doomer today, and I'm being very grumpy and unhappy, but I don't see how we stop this. The Supreme Court is poised to rule in Trump presidential immunity case on Monday. So they have extended their stuff to Monday. On Monday, they might give us some more bad news. They might tell us that Donald Trump is immune to crimes. They might tell us that. They might tell us on Monday that Donald Trump is immune to crimes. What do you think that'll do? Do you think Joe Biden will then go and do a bunch of crimes to keep our country safe? No, he won't. They're the Dems. They do nothing. They will sit still. They will write a strongly worded letter to the Supreme Court about how much they don't like that, and then they will lose. And then Donald Trump will just break all the laws, as I have suggested he will in the past and he will do in the future. I still make it known with my email to my senator that they on record that the voters are against this. These records are kept forever by the government. Yes. So I'm not telling you not to do so, Gonzo. I think that's a good thing to do. But if you're not attaching a dollar bill to it, they don't care. They will see a lobbyist giving them thousands of dollars to make a decision, and they will see your email telling them to do the opposite. They'll choose the one that gives them the most power. The money. Money is power. And if you have more of it, you have more power. Our country is built around that ideal. More money equals more power. More money to run a campaign means you get to be elected. And you get to have the power. Money is power. Your email does not give them any money. It doesn't. And even if you were pushing on them, vote for Trump, he wants to end this corruption. Armed with opinions, he loves this corruption. He is a part of this corruption. He wallows in this corruption. He rolls around in this corruption and promises more of it. He was corrupt before he got in charge. Money is the corruption, and Donald Trump is money, my man. He has been a absolute terror. He proves that the more money you have, the more power you have. And he will have more of it. Do you think Donald Trump loves money? And if he's got armed with opinions telling him don't do a corruption, or a lobbyist giving him millions of dollars to do the corruption, what do you think he's going to do? He's going to listen to you? No. He's going to listen to the person who gives him the most money, because money is power. Drain the Swamp Live was one of his biggest lies. Yeah, he swims in those corrupted waters. Yeah, Donald Trump drain the swamp and replace it with Trump brand swamp water. Trump can't stop the corruption. He's been convicted by a jury. His fellow Americans is guilty. He's corrupt to the core. His family has made much money of the U.S. government over many decades. Jared will make so much more money in a second Trump term. That $2 billion he got from Saudi Arabia, $2 billion he got from Saudi Arabia. Proven. We know it happened. We know it's there. The money that Hunter Biden got is mostly imaginary. They can't prove that it happened. They can't prove any bribery from Ukraine through Hunter to Joe Biden, but that still makes this guy go crazy. Yeah, we're getting Trump again, and it's going to become absolutely nightmarish. He will not listen to you, armed with opinions. I'm telling you. Donald Trump won't do what you want him to do. He's going to do what he's paid to do. Are you going to be the one to pay him? Probably not. He's going to do what he's paid to do. And only those things that he is paid to do. And it will not go well. The institutions can't stop him this time. They can't save us this time. Why can't the Congress do anything about it? Because they're going to be on the payroll too. He's going to be immune. Maybe Monday he might be immune to all fucking crimes. Monday he might be announced that he is immune to crimes. In which case he's the king, and the court will back him up 100% of the time. There will be no making things better. There will be no way to argue with it. The person with the most money is the winner. Let's see. So he might be immune to crimes and immune to bribery. And he's going to be immune to crimes, able to be bribed, and the court's going to protect him no matter what. So that's going to go really well. Give Donald Trump ultimate power. I'm sure it'll be fine. We just witnessed the biggest Supreme Court power grab since 1803. The court has given itself nearly unlimited power over the administrative state, putting everything from environmental protection of workers' rights at risk. This just happened yesterday. This is the Supreme Court saying that the administrative state has no authority and power. They cannot make decisions. Only courts can make decisions. Only courts can make decisions. Yes, the legislature can write laws about very, very, very specific details, but they won't. They're already gridlocked. Congress is already gridlocked. Do you think that Congress could pass a law about how many parts per million lead are allowed in drinking water? God, no. Congress can't do that. They're worthless. They accomplish nothing. They can do no specific things. They do big things every now and then, but they let the agencies handle the details. They pass a big law that says, hey, we want clean water. And then they create an EPA to determine the very tiny details on how that clean water gets how that water gets cleaned and how clean is clean. That's gone as of yesterday. It's gone. Congress can make decisions on how many parts per million lead is allowed in water, but they're not going to. Which means who does it? Judges. Only judges can make those decisions now. And the Supreme Court just passed that because they want that power. The Supreme Court will now make those decisions for you. And not just the Supreme Court, all judges across the state. Alabama judge can now determine how much lead is allowed in water, how many car batteries are allowed to be thrown into the ocean. They can decide that judge. And guess what? They can be bought. Those judges can now be paid after the fact. If a judge in Alabama decides that more lead in the water is acceptable, he can then be tipped by the companies afterward. He can now be paid by lobbyists afterward. Biden couldn't even speak the other night. Yeah, I know. That's why he's going to lose. Trump is after the Constitution. Yeah, he does. And shits on everyone for 8 years. Yeah. Biden's weak in ethics. Yeah. Congress should pass a law. You think Congress could pass a law? They can't pass anything. Shinsento's got it. They can't pass laws anymore. They can't. They can't pass big laws saying big things and then giving that law to the EPA or to the administrations to work out the tiny details. They can't do that. They sure as hell can't nail down the tiny details. Fucking some one person from Kentucky will decide that one minor thing in this bill is not good enough for his constituents, and he will hold it up. There will be more gridlock. This doesn't make less gridlock. It makes more. Do you think that Congress is super effective right now, knocking things out, getting a bunch of things done? If not, it's only going to get worse with this bill, with this decision. It's not a bill, it's a decision. It's a fucking decree from the priests on high. They have made this fucking decision for you and your fucking country. There's no way around it. The only way would be have cleaner water and fresher air is to change the standards to respectful. Awful is good. Yeah. There will be lawsuits. Yeah, but who cares? The judges will just get paid by the side that wants to win the most. Nothing is absolute. Things change. There's consequences and pendulum effect. Congressional leadership intentionally stops voting. Yes. Mitch McConnell should not escape. Great. Mitch McConnell will be paid by people to make decisions. And I don't think that's a good idea. That's a terrible idea. That's only going to get worse. I already think Mitch McConnell is in the pocket of big business and big money. He's already being paid through favors and stuff like that, and business deals and stock options and shit like that. And that's only going to get worse. That's going to be worse. So this specific choice, this specific thing, the biggest judicial power grab since 1803, the Supreme Court overruled Chevron versus Natural Resources. A 1984, so this has been in charge since 1984. It's not like the fucking blue-haired transgenders put this shit into a place 2 years ago. 1984, this case was decided by a Supreme Court. It instructed the judiciary to defer to the president and the president's experts in executive agencies when determining how best to enforce laws passed by Congress. So the experts in an executive agency, so similar to OSHA or NOAA or the people who track the hurricanes and the weather services and shit like that, I've got a whole list of them. We'll look at it here in just a minute. In doing so, the court gave itself nearly unlimited power over the administrative state and its regulatory agencies. Unlimited power the court now has. And they're for sale. So fucking... you better make some money on that. They have unlimited power and they are for sale. That's the fucking headline. That's the position that we are in now. Unlimited power and they're for sale. Congress sets laws. Executive branch determines how. Right. That's the way it's supposed to be. It's not anymore. The executive branch has lost power today. They've lost it. It now belongs to Congress. And if the Congress won't do it, and they won't because they are more gridlocked than ever, it will go to the judges. And local judges are going to decide environmental law. Local judges are going to decide banking law, banking regulations. Local judges are going to decide very complicated cases that used to be in the federal government's, in the executive branch's area. And they're for sale. That's the bottom line. They're going to be deciding this. Local judges are going to be deciding this, and they are for sale. If you're not a lawyer, that probably sounds bad, but mainly in a technical sense. Regulatory agencies like the EPA and the Securities and Exchange Commissions, the SEC, baby. Wait till the SEC doesn't have rules and is for sale. You know what that means? That means people with stock money pay the SEC for making bad decisions that benefit the people who paid them. That's what's coming. You think the stock market is a fucking rigged game now? Wait until they have no rules. Wait until there is no regulation on it. It will be a giant nightmare. I'm okay with the executive branch losing power, too, if it goes to the people, because of the many executive branch subpoenas being ignored, giving Congress more teeth it managed to regularly, properly can work. This could empower the legislature. You're right, it could. Have you seen the legislature? They're a bunch of catty bitches who don't do anything. They're a bunch of catty bitches who can't get basic fucking budgets passed. They can't pass budgets, that legislature. Do you think they can determine the very finite detail, the very, very tiny details about the Security and Exchanges Commission? No, they can't. How can they have not considered the points you're making now? They did, and they came down on the side of we want more power. The judges know all of this. The judges know everything that I am saying to you right now. The Supreme Court knows all of the things that I am telling you, and they chose it because it gives them more power. It gives them more authority. It makes them more important and gets them paid. They know all these things. This isn't a surprise to them. Kavanaugh looked at a $13,000 check and said, yes, that's acceptable. Because I would like a $13,000 check, please. Where's my $13,000 check? Kavanaugh is thinking. Where's my trips on yachts that Justice Thomas has been getting? Where are my kickbacks? Get me my kickbacks. We have a word for it, kickback. We already have that word. We already know what kickbacks are. They used to be illegal. They used to be murky. They used to be difficult. You had to prove that someone was getting a kickback for the choice that they made. But it looked like corruption. That's not corruption anymore. It's legal. It's totally fine. Kickbacks are cool and great, and everybody loves them, and everybody's going to be expecting them. And they will only make decisions if they get a nice big kickback. That's the system we have now. The system has changed. This past week, the system has changed. It really has. Let's see. The U.S. Constitution, flawed though it is, has already answered the question of who gets to decide how to enforce our laws. The Constitution says quite clearly that Congress passes laws and the President enforces them. The Supreme Court, constitutionally speaking, has no role in determining whether Congress has the right to pass the law, or if the executive branch is right to enforce it, or how presidents should use the authority granted them by Congress. So, for instance, if Congress passes a Clean Air Act, which it did in 1963, the president creates an executive agency to enforce it, which President Nixon did in 1970. Then it's really not up to the Supreme Court to say, well, actually, clean air doesn't mean what the EPA thinks it means. This is where we are. As of 2 weeks ago, in the recent past, the EPA would determine what clean air means. The EPA would make an assumption. They would hire experts. They would bring in scientists. They would make decisions based on what's possible and what's not to get clean air. But that is not their choice anymore. The EPA does not get to decide that. Congress can decide it. They won't because they suck. The judges will because they don't have to get 418 people to agree on a thing and vote for a thing and then get it signed by a president to make these decisions. The judges are very quickly going to start making these decisions. Congress can then clarify what they mean by clean air in the act, but they won't. Because they suck. Congress won't make these decisions. They can't. They're gridlocked already. And think about it this way. Is Congress bad at doing its job right now? Most people say yes. Do you want to give them millions and millions more decisions to make? I don't. I think they will do a bad job on that. if you increase their workload, and I'm not talking like a little bit of increase, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of decisions to make, they will just do nothing. They will not make those decisions. Or if they do make those decisions, if they do pass those things, they're for sale. Remember, bribery is legal now. They will make the decision that gets them paid the most. Voting no on this bill will get me a $100 kickback, or voting yes on it will get me a $100,000 kickback. They vote yes to get the $100,000 kickback. That's what they'll do. That is the system that we have now. It only happened yesterday, so it's a brand new world. It's about to rear its ugly head. Things are about to get real fucking bad. For an unelected panel of judges to come in above the agency and tell them how the president is allowed to enforce laws is a perversion of the constitutional order and the separation of powers, and a repudiation of democracy itself. By repudiating democracy to expand its own power, the court has exactly what the Supreme Court did today's ruling in Looper Bright versus Ramonando. It overturned Chevron. Chevron is the one that you'll be hearing a lot of the people on the news talk about. Chevron. It is a naked power grab that places the court ahead of literal experts chosen by the president, who is the one elected officials we get to vote for. Do you think this is a special competence in resolving what the word clean means and context of the Clean Water, Clean Air Act experts in the EPA justices, or Harlan Crow's yacht? Yeah. So you have EPA scientists that are going to get shot down by judges who don't know anything. Let's see, what's this one say? What's the SCOTUS just did to the broadband, the right to repair, and the environment, and more. So these are some more lists of things that are going to be changed. The true scope of this ruling will not be immediately felt, and what replaces Chevron deference is still unclear. The regulatory state has been under steady attack from increasingly conservative judiciary for a long time. Some of these agencies we follow more closely kneecapped even before the decision. One expert we talked to said Chevron has been a dead letter for quite some time. Okay. We don't need to know about that. What's going to happen in the future? That's what we want. A new threat to net neutrality. So yeah, net neutrality is going to be gone. You won't get to make those decisions. The Federal Communications Commission has famously interpreted Title II as the Communications Act to regulate internet service providers as a common carrier in a policy known as net neutrality. Reclassifying ISPs as a telecommunication service rather than information services would let the FCC impose more regulations on the industry, including mandating that they can't unfairly block or throttle internet traffic. The idea is to keep ISPs from controlling what information users do and don't see on the internet. That determining what you see and what you don't see on the internet is up for sale. Who's going to pay the most? That's where we are. Everything is for sale. Everything is for sale now. Everything is for sale. That interpretation could come under threat, even as the FCC just recently voted to reinstate net neutrality. It's going to be gone. Net neutrality, I'm calling it right now, is gone because people will pay the politicians to get rid of it. Net neutrality is a good thing. Paying politicians to get rid of net neutrality is a bad thing. We don't want throttling. I agree, Gonzo. Net neutrality means no throttling. Net neutrality is awesome and good and the way it ought to be, but it's now that bribery is allowed. The politicians who vote against net neutrality, the politicians who vote for throttling, will get paid by Xfinity and Comcast. They'll just get a tip for doing so. They will vote against regulations. They will vote to allow Comcast to do the throttling. Comcast will then pay them. You write a letter to them and say, hey, I like net neutrality. Please keep it up. And Comcast gives them $100,000 to say, no, we don't like it. Who will submit the bills? The politicians. And if the politicians don't submit those bills, it's the court who gets to decide. This is again the part where the legislation won't do it. The legislators might get stuck in a quagmire. The legislators of who's going to submit those bills might get bogged down in moneyed interest. They might just do nothing. They might get stuck in the quagmire, in their slow-moving, very gridlocked way, which means it goes to the court. The court will decide. And it's much easier to pay one judge than it is 15 state senators. So that's what's going to happen, is everybody's going to be paying everybody. How can there be no oversight? Because they just killed it. Oversight is gone. They just killed it this week. It's gone. It has ceased to be. The executive, and it's not just net neutrality. Sorry, my headphones die if they don't hear anything lately. So, yeah, they killed it. It's over. The regulatory agencies are done. For example, even if the FCC previously chose to classify ISPs in a way that would lead to a lighter touch regulation, the Supreme Court ruled that Chevron defense could be applied to the FCC's interpretation of the Communications Act. So Chevron can be applied to anything that happened in the past. This change echoes backward to decisions made in the past. They are about to get hundreds of new cases. The Supreme Court, the regular courts, the lowest level courts, are about to get hundreds of thousands of new cases of companies changing regulation, demanding that the regulation is wrong so that that company can make more money. Those judges are going to make decisions. The state legislatures could override those court decisions, but they would have to vote on it. State legislatures, not the cleanest, most forward-thinking people, are going to be able to make those decisions, but they might not. They can, but they might not. Is this 100% judge overtaking? No, but it is so complicated that the legislatures are going to have a difficult time with it. Legislatures move slowly. They always move slowly. And they have lots of people, and you have to get everybody together, and you have to discuss the problems, and then one pain in the ass says, I don't like it, because he's being paid to not like it. He will filibuster it or something along those lines, and then there will be no decision. There will be no bills passed, which means it goes to the court, and the court gets to decide. And it'll be it won't be just the Supreme Court. This will be lower courts. This will be a fucker in Alabama who just decides that, yeah, you're allowed to do that. The company's allowed to do that. And the company pays him afterward. He says, yeah, Comcast is allowed to create these fast and slow lanes, and they're allowed to charge their customers whatever the hell they want. And then Comcast will pay him. That's how it'll go. The coal mining companies. There's a coal miner in Kentucky that's suing his employer. And the legislature won't do anything about it because they're bogged down and paid one guy to filibuster the thing. And then the court's going to make the decision. The decision is capable of being paid afterward. Like some asshole judge in Texas that knows better than doctors. Exactly. Anything to do with medical stuff is absolutely not going to get legislation. Like Texas didn't even vote. Let their people vote on the Roe versus Wade, the new abortion laws. They didn't even get to vote on it. The legislature just decided that's what they would do. And the legislature can do that. But if there's one person paid to be an asshole in that legislature and filibuster it, if you pay 5 people within the legislature not to move forward, then it goes to the judges. And those judges are paid too. Everybody's for sale now. Everybody's for sale, top to bottom, all of them. It was already pretty bad. The money in politics was already pretty bad. It just got worse this week. It's worse now. Everybody's getting paid by everybody. Are you paying anybody? If you're not, you fucking lose. The downfall of Chevron deference could completely change the way the court reviews net neutrality. Yep. Happened to the environment and efforts to fight climate change. It's no coincidence that Chevron itself was an environmental case, especially for an agency like the Environmental Protection Agency that makes these highly technical, highly scientific-based decisions very, very complicated. Chevron was very important. Overruling Chevron is essentially the big power grab, experts tell The Verge. It pushes the agency's technical experts to the side when it comes to crafting environmental protections. Experts no longer get to decide what your environmental protections are. The court will, or the legislature will, if they can be fucking bothered to. In recent years, the conservative-leaning Supreme Court has already whittled down the agency's regulatory authority, notably by strengthening the major questions doctrine in the Heisberg anti-Chevron. Okay, as a result, the EPA has already pivoted away from relying on Chevron's deference. According to that, so they already knew that was coming. A rule the EPA finalized in April for cutting greenhouse gas emissions from power plants is a prime example. Supreme Court decision in West Virginia, coal country, not only strengthened the major question doctrine, it also said that the EPA's rules shouldn't determine whether utilities use fossil fuels or renewable energy. So the EPA can't make decisions anymore. Effectively pushed the EPA to turn to controversial technologies that capture carbon dioxide from power plants in its policy to cut greenhouse gas emissions. And then they'll just get rid of that too. Let's look at a list of them, because there are a lot of these things. Come on, Internet. I know you can do it. Here's a list of government agencies and regulatory bodies. The FDIC, the Federal Deposit Insurance Corporation. This is about banking. If these people aren't able to regulate anymore, they regulate interstate and foreign communication by radio, telephone, telegraph, and television, Federal Deposit Insurance, stuff like that. So they regulate these things. What do you think happens if they're able to be bribed? Well, those things change, don't they? The Federal Reserve System is a Federal Deposit Insurance. The Federal Reserve is a central banking system, and enacts the Federal Reserve Act. If they can make more money by changing a law, that's fine now. They can, if somebody at the Federal Reserve changes a law, a very rich person is allowed to tip them and give them money for it. What else we got? We've got Federal Trade Commission. The Federal Reserve, the Federal Trade Commission is an independent agency of the United States government whose principal mission is to enforce civil antitrust law. And if they're paid not to do it, they won't. That's where we are. These people don't get to make decisions anymore. Our government is collapsing. There will be no one in charge of it except for the judges. That's why I called it a coup. That's why I added the title that I did, that the Supreme Court just did a little coup. All the judges will make those decisions. Let's see. Office of Comptroller. I don't know what they do. What's a comptroller? Of the currency in an independent bureau with the United States Department of Treasury that was established. This is to do with the Treasury. They make decisions about money. And if they make a decision that makes Amazon more profitable and raises their stock prices, Amazon will pay them. And they know this. They will know ahead of time. Let's see, what do we got? We got a Department of Commerce. Yeah, but Commerce. Guess what? You can buy them. If you want to buy the Department of Commerce, you can now. You can buy the Department of Commerce. How would you like to buy the Department of Housing and Urban Development? Somebody's going to do that. Somebody at the Department of Housing and Urban Development will get paid for making decisions about housing by the people who make money from houses. This will not make us better. This will make us far more corrupt. We need bribery oversight, Gonzo? Yeah, we do. We had it until last week. There are approximately 438 federal agencies. Will the government agencies take sexual favors as bribes? I don't think that they can at the moment. That's probably still illegal. Money is far cheaper than sexual favors anyway. All right, let's see what else we got. We've got the EPA. We looked at the EPA. Nuclear Regulatory Commission. So they're for sale. Hope you gather some money and buy the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. Let's see, what is the Department of the Treasury? The Treasury's for sale. Gather together some money and buy some fucking people at the Treasury. You know, money is dirtier than sex. Yeah, it's true. Let's see. What do we got? We've got Access Board. I don't know what that is. Department of Justice. They're for sale. If you make a choice within the Department of Justice, you're allowed to get paid for it afterward. If you make a decision to do this thing, you can be paid afterward. Am I being hyperbolic? No. This is what's coming. This is absolutely what we're about to have. I'm being predictive, I think. Am I being hyperbolic? I'm predicting what I think is about to happen. I think that someone who works at the Department of Justice is going to make a decision and then get paid for it. That will teach them to make more decisions for that person who paid them. They will be, once you are paid to do a thing, you will start doing that thing more often. And the people who want you to do that thing will pay you more often. If, I'm literally a live streamer. If I got up and did a dance and someone tipped me for it, I would then do more dances, wouldn't I? If it gets you paid, you'll do it more often. That is the problem. The people at these agencies are going to start making rules and stuff like that, and they can be paid. But they can be paid by anybody. So the judges are going to start making decisions based on cases that come before them. If there is a case, net neutrality is a good example. It's been all over the fucking judges. There have been 1,000 judges involved in net neutrality. Now imagine those cases still happen, and the judge knows that if he makes a decision one direction, Comcast will pay him. He's more likely to make that decision. If he makes the decision the other direction, he won't get paid. Say no, shoot this case down, you don't get paid. Say yes to this case, you make money. Comcast will just tip you for the good job you did. And that's legal now. That's not even like under the table. They can simply just do it. They can simply give that guy the money and smile and look at the camera and wave and say, hey, I gave this guy some money. Cool. Good job. Way to choose that case, DOJ. Department of Homeland Security. There you go. So if the Homeland Security makes 1,000 little decisions, they're a large organization. They make lots of tiny decisions. Can Congress make those decisions for them? Yes, they can. Will they? No. They're a fucking joke. They cannot do tiny things. They can't do big things. They can't do the tiny ones. They sure as hell can't do the tiny ones. So the DHS doesn't get to make decisions anymore. Judges get to make those decisions. And those judges are going to be paid after making those decisions. They might close up the borders forever for the right price. Yeah. If you want border policy, you will simply pay the person who keeps doing the policy that you like. It's a post decision pay structure. Hey, I want this border closed. Pay that man. Somebody will pay him. Or open the border. I mean, let's fucking turn this entirely around. Let's get some fucking Republicans on board. Armed with opinions, I hope you're still here. The Dems can just pay people now. Do you like that? Do you like the idea of Nancy Pelosi making more money? Because she's going to make more money. This absolutely gets Nancy Pelosi way more money. Absolutely does. Her bank account just fucking, she just knows that she's going to make a shitload more money because of this. Same for all of them in Congress, but do you want both sides to be able to get more money? I don't think that's a good plan. I don't think that's a good thing. I don't want that to happen. I think there's already too much money in politics, and now there's more. Let's see. So yeah, that's our, what other agencies have we got down here? DHS, that's for sale. Social Security, there we go. Social Security Administration. They make decisions. And if they make the decision you like, you get to pay them. And the people who are seeking, the profit seeking, will be part of their operation. I will seek the most profit at the Social Security Administration, and whatever I do gets me paid is the thing that I'll do. Let's see. Department of Veteran Affairs. That's for sale. You want them to get paid less? Well, somebody gather the money. Yeah, Soros is frantically writing checks because he's allowed to now. If you think Soros bucks were real before, they weren't, but they are now. Fucking George Soros just gets to pay people. Maybe that's how we turn it the fuck around. Maybe we just have George Soros start paying every member of Congress. All of them. Every single one. Maybe then it'll convince the right not to fucking allow this. Not to let Donald Trump pick more Supreme Court justices. What do we got? Pension benefits. Yep. That's for sale. Railroad Retirement Board. Do you think that Nancy Pelosi, AOC, and fucking Maytag, MTG, can come to some sort of agreement about the Railroad Retirement Board? Do any of those people know anything about motherfucking railroads and their retirement money? No, they don't, which is why the Congress won't be making these decisions. Congress would have to meet, be in session, put together a bill about very tiny, specific Railroad Retirement Board decisions. Incredibly small, like who gets what and how much in percentages. Very, very, very tiny decisions. Maytag will stand against it, and if Nancy Pelosi's for it, Maytag will be against it. Doesn't matter what the fuck it is. It doesn't matter how useful it is. It doesn't matter how good it is for the American people. She won't care. Nancy Pelosi says yes. Maytag says no. They will be in gridlock. It doesn't matter if they're giving out good things for the people. Maytag might know about running a train. Maybe it was a bad choice on my part. They will not make intelligent decisions for the people. They will make political decisions. They will make ideological red versus blue decisions. That means the legislature won't be able to come up with a decision. That leaves it to the court, and the court will be in charge, and the court will make the decision that they are paid to make. What other ones we got? Chemical safety, that's for sale. Department of Energy, that's for sale. Commission on the Fine Arts, that's for sale. Council on Disability, that's for sale. United States Department of Labor, that's for sale. And that's the end of my links for today. But that's where we are. I don't think this is going to go very well. I think this is going to go very, very badly. More money in politics. More corruption. That's what we're looking at over the next few years. It might not be tomorrow, but it is coming. The Supreme Court makes decisions like that, and they take a while before you see the effects. Office of the Inspector General, that's for sale. The OIG, I don't know what they do specifically, Gonzo, but if they make a certain decision, you can pay them for it. Judicial Conduct and the Disabilities Act of 1980. If you decide a certain way, somebody might pay you. If you decide to kill a regulation, somebody might pay you. If you decide to enact a regulation, somebody might not pay you. Money is power. The people with the money will get more power. They're up for sale now. Those judges will be deciding when the legislature can't, which will be 99% of the time. And it's going to go bad. It's going to go real bad. Probably very bad for unions and workers' rights. Yeah, absolutely. They might be able to rally together some money to pay the people for making decisions. And if you are on the right, if you are a Donald Trump fan, you don't like unions. Follow me here. Listen, I'm going to be a Republican for a minute. I'm talking to the Republicans. I'm talking to you. Do you like unions? No? Well, guess what? They're allowed to pay politicians more. As of last week, unions are allowed to pay politicians more. The unions are going to pay Nancy Pelosi. Do you like that, Republican? Do you like that, conservative? Do you want unions to pay more money to Nancy Pelosi? They're going to, because of the conservatives on the court. The conservative court has decided it's legal for unions to pay Nancy Pelosi. Don't vote for Donald Trump. He will make this worse. He is corruption. He is the moneyed interest. He will make all of this worse. The Project 2025 has promised to kill the administrative state, and this is the first stab. This is the first knife into the administrative state. The conservatives hate it. But you know what happens when there is no administrative state? You get to do whatever you want. Whoever has the money gets to do whatever they want. Sometimes that's the unions. Unions have a lot of money. They have a lot of people. Those people all pay dues and stuff like that. And then the unions will just give the money to Nancy Pelosi. Do you like that? If not, you can't support this idea. But as usual, The people on the left have less money, less power, less authority because they want more democracy. The corporations will have way more money than the unions, obviously. They always have. They always will. And they will pay more politicians. So the unions will eventually get snuffed out. They will be smashed. They will be crushed. They will be destroyed by right-wing politicians who make a right-wing choice and then paid for it by the companies. That's how it'll go. If there was one thing. Okay. Wild speculation. We're getting into the wild speculation now. So, cool, Gonzo. Those people are for sale now. Yeah. And if they make a decision to accept, if the OIG makes a decision to accept that these things are not criminal anymore, they'll get paid for it. The system is unraveling. You're pointing at systemic solutions. And I don't think the system can survive this. I don't think it can. I think we're about to watch the entire thing unravel because we allowed corruption. We allowed people who do not want what's best for the population to be in charge. We allowed money to do exactly this. If your government is awash in capital, this is what you will get. This is what you will always get. If money is more powerful than the government, then the government will be overtaken by people filled with money, people who want money. It's the only way there is. There is no way around this. Okay, best case scenario. I know I'm being doomer here, and I'm being very pessimistic. Joe Biden wins. Great. He still has probably a Republican House and a 50 seat Senate plus the vice president. So they have 50 plus 1 in the Senate. What does he do? Can he stand up to the Supreme Court? Probably not. He won't. And the senators won't want him to because they'll be getting paid. The senators are being paid. The House getting paid. Why would they let President Biden stop it? Why would he want to stop it? He's a capitalist. He loves capitalism. He talks about it all the time. He's a neolib. He loves this idea. He needs more money for his friends. And all of the people at the DNC are going to be like, wait, yeah, we can just make more money now. Why would we upset that? They will lose eventually to the people on the right. And there's no coming back from that. Best case scenario. Biden wins and we limp along for another few years. Worst case scenario, the entire system falls apart. It's a huge assumption that they'll all think the same way. They don't all have to think the same way. They have to have enough people to do nothing. That's what they need. They need enough people to filibuster. Filibuster. No progress, no changing, no moving. That is what you don't have to pay Congress to change the laws. You'll just have to pay a few people in Congress to stand completely still, filibuster this shit. And that's what they'll do. The people who get paid the most will do nothing. They will be paid to make no new laws. They will be paid to make decisions that make the companies more money. And then with that more money, they'll buy more politicians. That is how I think this is going to play out. Am I being exaggerative? Maybe. Am I predicting doom? Yes. Am I predicting things that will go badly? Yes, I am predicting that because it seems to be the trend. Citizens United was a decade ago, and that made everything worse. And now we're getting worse. That's with respect to they'll do. No one knows exactly what they'll do, and you're speculating. Yes, yeah, I am speculating. I make no argument to that. I am speculating. Predicting things is hard, especially the future. But that's what I do. That's what I like to do. It's what I like to think about. This thing happened. What's going to happen tomorrow? I'm a progressive. I want to know what is happening tomorrow. I want to make plans for tomorrow. Tomorrow is far more important than yesterday. In my entire, in my brain, the way I look at things. So, what else to talk about? Okay, wild speculation, crazy speculation. All drugs become legal. They do. Because someone wants to sell them. How does this affect marijuana? If you have money right now. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. And I think this might be some of the reason that it gets pushed back on. If you have money right now and you want weed legalization, you will be able to pay someone in your government after they make that decision. If a Texas Democrat, there are a few of them, not very many, but there are a few, pushes a bill, and they're going to float these little balloons. They're going to float these little ideas in every state legislature so that they can fish $4. Let's say Beto O'Rourke. He's a Texas Democrat. He puts forward a bill that says weed's legal. It gets defeated. It gets stomped into the fucking ground. But you know what Beto gets after that? Money. He gets money from the people who want it to be true, who want it to be up, who want it to go. Where do they have these conversations? It doesn't matter. It's legal. They're allowed to have these conversations in their DMs, in their phone calls, in their funding campaign meetings. Beto O'Rourke has meetings with people who fund him, and he tells them what he wants to do. They're allowed, within legal reasons, to fund him. There will be coordination. There will be coordination, and that's legal now. It's fine. As long as he doesn't say it, if you say it the right way, it's fine. It's acceptable and it's legal. So he will float this bill. He'll put forward this bill. He'll go onto Twitter and talk about how he wants this bill to be passed. Then it will get stomped down. Then they will pay him. And he will push it again a second time. And he has more money now. And other people in that caucus. The guy sitting next to Beto will see, hey, he pushed this weed bill and then he got paid. I could use some money. I will also support it. And then he will get paid. And then 3 people will support the bill. And then all 3 of them will get paid. Is the opposite happening at the same time? Yes. The people who want it shut down will also be paying the people who shut it down. And it will just be an amount. The votes won't matter about ideology anymore. The votes will only count who gets paid the most. If I buy 5 senators and you buy 100, you win. If I buy 5 senators to shoot something down and you buy 10 to shoot it up, you've won. Congratulations. You did it. The entire country's for sale now. We can ask the OIG their viewpoint on your concerns. Maybe. If they're a regulatory agency, they may have lost power yesterday. They may have lost authority, according to the judges yesterday. Maybe they did. Maybe they didn't. Maybe they're going to come in with some super cool thing. Maybe there's a chance that the entire executive does some super cool moves to make this not happen. But I don't think they will. It's not in their interest to do so. There is no benefit to them to do so. Because they will only be... I don't think there's any benefit for the executive to stand against this. Why would they? They will benefit from the bribery. If you benefit from bribery, bribery will happen. And it will become the norm. And I think that's where we are. I'm going to turn Canuch on for just a minute. I know I had her off for a while, but I was ranting. You know what I mean? Canuch is back on. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. I appreciate you being here, Gonzo. Very nice. And I think you're right that the OIG might have something to say about it. But I don't know if they
I have
can.
a hard time thinking that so many people are similar to fall to bribery. Canuch.
They don't want to fall to bribery, probably. But what the good people will do, if you really do believe in the government and you want things to happen in a certain way and you believe in democracy and you want the people's voice to be heard, you'll still get paid for doing that by somebody, hopefully. Or not hopefully, but most likely. And if the things that get done are the things that have the most monetary value. That's the situation we're in now. Selfless volunteer work does not get paid, hence it does not get done. The work that pays a lot gets done a lot faster, doesn't it? I mean, selfless working for the people doesn't get money, doesn't make money.
If this is true, then I am going to become corrupt, I am going to lie very well, and I am going to run for office.
And you will and if you make those decisions based on who pays you the most, Comcast pays you $1,000 to make after you make a decision, and you suspect that I don't know who's their competitor. What's the other cable company? I don't know, Cox. So Cox Cable is going to pay you $1,000 last time, and you think that Comcast is going to pay you $10,000 if you make a decision. You'll make the $10,000 decision, not the $1,000 one. Maybe if you are principled, you will make the right decision for the people, and that only pays you $1,000. But still, you got paid for it. Or if there's a decision that doesn't pay you, are you less likely to make the decision that doesn't pay you? Yes. I mean, I can't think of any way that's an incorrect statement. You are less likely to make the decision that doesn't pay. And that is the situation we'll be in. We'll have to expect our members of Congress, giant pillars of virtue that they are, we already know that they're all super good people, to vote for what's best for us rather than vote for what gets them paid.
The members of Congress will have to be moral.
They'll have to be moral. That's right. They'll have to vote for the things that are good for the people instead of the things that get them paid. I don't have much faith.
Representative accountability is missing.
I don't have much faith.
Check out
that that's
Waldo's
happen.
videos, https://www.youtubecom at Waldo Videos.
I don't think that's going to happen. I think that it is going to go, I'm being doomer and I'm being pessimistic here, sure. I think it's going to go towards who pays the most. They will make only the decisions that get them paid the most, or that they assume will get them paid the most. It's not guaranteed that they get the pay, but it's an assumption. If I vote this way, let's look at the tobacco companies. John Boehner, old politician from the 90s, literally stood on the floor of Congress and handed a check for an amount of money to every single Republican politician who voted yes on a specific tobacco bill. This is a very long time ago. You can watch it happen. You can see it on fucking camera. Everybody who voted yes lines up, gets a check from him, from the tobacco company. Now, they were following the law then. They were only giving the amount that was legally allowed for them to give. That amount is gone because it's a gratuity now. It's just a tip, a gratuity. What if that number goes higher? Don't you want to be in the line of people who are getting checks from the tobacco company? All you have to do is vote yes to this thing that helps them. And that will be the way. This is the way. That's the way it will be. Is whoever and every congressman knows how to make money. They all do. They all have to have fundraisers and stuff like that. The lobbyists will come to them and be like, hey, there's going to be a big fat fucking check in it if you say yes. And then they'll say yes. And this is how our democracy dies. Because of capital. Because of money. Because of capitalism. This is why I complain about it all the time. Every one of my fucking streams, I yell and scream about capitalism and how it's poisoning us. This is it. This is how it's coming down. The capitalists will be in charge of the entire government. There will be no choices made by them to help you. There will only be choices that get them paid. If the people are willing to pay, they could choose what's best for the people if the people pay them. There will be a few over the next couple of years, holdouts, a few zealots for democracy.
Okay, taken to the extreme, which hasn't happened yet. We're still functioning better than many other countries.
Maybe. I think it's because we have so much capitalism, because we have so much money. We came to we had a couple of things that put us in charge of the global economy. Yes. We didn't get decimated during World War II. that put us in the lead. We spent a bunch of money. We bombed a bunch of things. But speaking broadly, everything in Europe and Asia that looked like a factory got bombed. If it doesn't matter which side you're on, if you're on the Axis side, you see, hey, that looks like a factory, bomb it. If you're on the Allied side,
we're
you see
still resilient, and our flexibility and our wealth all combined works well, more proof that capitalism regulated property can work.
I agree with you. Capitalism, regulated properly, can work. The regulations went out the window this week. The regulations are gone. Those regulations are gone now. And we're about to see it over the next it's going to take a couple of months and a couple of years, I think. And after this election, which is still going to be a fucking mess, I think shit gets real wild.
There are still regulations.
There are still regulations? Not for long. Not for long, man. Those regulations are not capable. You can't set those regulations.
You're Sue Absolute P.
Those regulations are out the window unless the legislature writes them or a judge decides them. The executive, those regulations were set by the executive. They can't do that anymore. This will cause lots and lots of chaos. And in that chaos, the people with the most money will benefit the most. And they will pay the politicians to steer that chaos towards their own pocketbook, towards their own wallet. And in doing so, we will change significantly, I think. Over the next couple of years are going to be fucking wild. I'm glad I started streaming when I did, because this is about to be a fucking mess. Yeah, regulation and bribery are the words of the day. Absolutely correct. The regulations are going out the window. And if you get rid of a regulation, the company that benefits from that is going to tip you.
How many judges will get shot?
How many judges will get shot? I don't think any of them will get shot. I don't think we're at the point of violence yet. I think a couple of years, if this goes really, really, really poorly, I think we are a couple of years away from it. Because there's no solution. Do you think Biden can do you think Biden can correct this? No. The politicians don't want him to.
How many people will be put into prison?
Well, quite a few, I suspect. Unless they have the money to get out of it. Unless they have the money to pay a judge for making a decision a certain way. Regulatory agencies are the first step. But if you get a politician and they think that they're going to make money by pardoning you, you can fucking pay them for pardons now. You can pay them for pardons now. If Donald Trump pardons someone, it's legal for that someone to give him lots of money. That wasn't possible a week ago. It wasn't. It is now. The governors can pardon people. If a governor pardons you, you are allowed to now give him lots of money. You can't tell him ahead of time. You can't coordinate it before the fact. But he did a political thing, and you're paying him for it. Nothing to stop him. This is what's going to happen. The rich will break the law and simply pay for it, and the poor will suffer. That's where we're headed. That is where we're going. And I'm being extreme. I'm being extremely doomer. I'm being very pessimistic about this, but I think that that's the way it'll go. What was I thinking? Yeah. The drugs, if a company wants to sell cocaine, they will. And they'll simply pay a few politicians to make it legal. The politicians will put together, just like the weed I said with Beto, somebody's going to put together I want to make a cocaine legal bill. And then that guy will get paid.
You sound giddy. You want Armageddon. It's in your voice. You're excited about it. You're craving the tidal wave of blood.
Not really. I'm not giddy about any of this. This is me doomering about it. I don't want any of these things to happen. I wanted fucking Bernie to win. I wanted someone other than Joe Biden to be running. I'm telling you what's happening, and I'm going to watch it. And why would I want this? This puts my life in danger. This puts me in danger. If you're, I think Project 2025 is absolutely going to put me and the words I say into this fucking camera into an illegal status. I think that when Donald Trump wins, and he might, He puts Project 2025 into operation. The executive now just does whatever it's paid to do. The court does whatever it's paid to do. And free speech goes out the window. The entire Constitution is gone.
Yes, Project 2025 is some of the most stupid bag of clown dicks there is.
And they will make this stream illegal. They will make what I'm doing right now illegal because they can and they will. Competing bribes to the same judge. Well, if the bribe is paid post-decision, nobody's going to lose money on a bribe that didn't work. So many no judge deaths from companies, but upset vigilantes. Yeah, vigilantism will be on the rise. I agree with you. I think that's a couple of years away. I think we're a couple of years away from that, honestly. So yeah, I think this is going to go really badly. I think that if Donald Trump wins, and he might because of the poor job that Biden did the other day, he's going to get a Republican Senate. He's going to get a Republican House. He's going to be the Republican
There is always
leader.
A legal way around problems. These Christians are going to go to prison.
I don't think so. I don't think so because they will gather all the money and get pardoned. Donald Trump will pardon them because he's paid to. He will pardon them, and then someone will give him lots of money. And it won't matter.
No.
Yeah, he will. Like, he wants to pardon the Jan 6 rioters now. If he wins, he will pardon the Jan 6 rioters. He promised to do so. And you're going to pay him, and some church member is going to gather together a whole bunch of money and give it to him if he does it? That's exactly what's going to happen. He will do what he wants and pardon anybody who stands against him. Even if they're committing crimes, they'll commit crimes and he will pardon them. He already wants to pardon Roger Stone, who committed crimes for his benefit. He wants to pardon that other guy who's going to jail on Monday. He wants to pardon them.
Trump can't deliver on his promises with a full Congress and the White House heddle fumbling and failing so many failures.
Yes, and what stopped him last time? The agencies. The EPA said you can't do that. The lawyers stopped him. It was government regulation that prevented the worst of his promises being fulfilled. But that's gone now. The government regulations are gone. They will be sold to the highest bidder. And he will be that highest bidder. He will...
You're projecting doom. It's not valuable.
I don't want it to be true, but that's what I'm seeing. Yeah, okay. Well, maybe I'm being entirely pessimistic and need to be in a better space. I don't know. I don't see a good outcome. I'm a weatherman here telling you that the hurricanes are going to come and kill us all. Yes. But sometimes you have to know that the weatherman is
I
telling
understand
you
the point, and you're right.
You're right, though. I could be more happy and positive, but I don't see how. Biden can't stop this. What's he going to do? Flood the Supreme Court with 10 more people? That would have to pass the Senate. The Senate will be deadlocked. The Senate doesn't do anything. The House of Representatives doesn't do anything. Could he? The court packing was the very important thing that everybody talked about for the past few years. Court packing. 17 more people, all of them fucking super liberals on the Supreme Court. Well, each of those 17 people would have to get passed by the Senate. And they won't. The Senate won't do it because the Senate is going to benefit from this pay situation. The Senate is going to be paid to do nothing. If
You Don Hink judges will get shot. I don't understand your doom.
Well, they're not going to get shot yet, a couple of years from now. And I'm trying to avoid talking about things like that, about violence on the stream, because that will get you canceled, you see. The stream platforms don't like you professing violence. And I don't want to call for violence. I'm not doing that. It's called Fed posting. I'm not going to do that. So what I think is going to happen is the Dems will do nothing to stop this. They can do nothing to stop this.
Our tax dollars are used to protect corrupt politicians.
Yes. And those tax dollars will continue to protect them. And now not tax dollars. Your tax dollars are nothing anymore. Your tax dollars are still coming in. But now the corporate dollars are coming in. The corporate dollars are going to protect those corrupt politicians. Imagine a Texas senator gets paid to do a certain, to pass a certain bill. And what are you going to do? Hold him accountable with a judge? The judge can just be paid too. And if he is actually found guilty of any crime, the president can just pardon him and get paid for it. Somebody will be able to pay him for it.
Violence is never the solution. It only creates more violence. There are never any winners.
I agree completely. I don't want violence, but I predict it will be here in the next couple of years. I think so. I don't want it. I don't like it. I don't want any more of it. I wish we didn't have to do this. I wish there was no violence incoming. It would be nice if things work out well. It would be nice if the Dems find some sneaky way to prevent this. I don't think they will. So yeah, the Dems can't stop it. The Republicans benefit from it, and then the Dems will also benefit from it. Why would it get stopped? Who's going to stop it, and why would they? The Republicans want it, the Democrats want it, and
I can't believe this won't be challenged. I can't believe I am that stupid.
who will challenge it? Everybody in politics benefits from this decision. Everyone. Joe Biden benefits from this decision. He really does. I can send him money now. I can pay him a tip. I can give Joe Biden a gratuity for doing such a good job. And that's legal now. And if
Doing the right thing still exists.
Doing the right thing still exists, yes. But if it's unprofitable, it's less likely to happen. I'm not saying you can't do the right thing. I'm not saying there won't be politicians who tell you the right thing and there won't be people pushing for it. But if the right thing pays less than the wrong thing, then the wrong thing might happen more often. That's all I'm suggesting. Not that you can't make good decisions. It's just that the decisions will be prioritized by the tip given after the decision is made. It changes your priorities around. If, it works at restaurants too. You've got a poor family who's not going to tip you, or you've got a very rich businessman who's going to give you a large tip. Who do you pay more attention to? Who do you help? Who do you serve? Who do you help out? Who do you give the most of your attention to?
That's the leap you're making. That's a little too far to think that many people are primarily or mostly driven by small profits at very high risk. Seem off to me.
There is no risk. There's no risk. The risk is gone. This week, the risk ended. There was a risk. There was a risk of being convinced, being told you're doing a kickback. It was illegal to give someone a check for their money afterward. That was illegal. It's not illegal anymore. It will happen so often, and so many people will get them that you won't even be able to cover it on the news. The news only has so many. I'm only on for 2 hours, and there'll be hundreds and hundreds of these cases, these situations. I won't be able to cover them all. We will be drowned in local politicians taking a kickback, local politicians taking a kickback for making a decision that helps the company that gave them the kickback. Local judges will decide cases and get a kickback from the company that benefits from that case. The Supreme Court will be getting more and more and more bribes, and we won't be able to do anything about it. What are you going to do? The Dems benefit from it. The Republicans benefit from it. And then the Dems can't put anything in place. The legislature can't pass any bills. We are run by judges now. That's the way I see it. And those judges can make good choices. The king can make good choices. He can. But I don't trust him to. The judges can make good choices. I don't trust them to, because they have a profit motive. Because I will always doubt people who have a profit motive when it comes to government. If you have a profit motive for selling Pepsi, great. I approve. You should sell Pepsi to make a profit, but you shouldn't sell legislation to make a profit. It makes me doubt the things that you're pushing. It makes me doubt the things that you're saying. Donald Trump has a very large reason to run for president. He will possibly be immune from all crimes. We'll find out on Monday if he's immune to all fucking crimes ever, and he might be.
Anti-bribery laws. Bribery of public officials, including judges, is illegal under federal laws such as 18 U.S. Code 201, which prohibits offering, giving, receiving, or soliciting anything of value.
That's if you coordinate it ahead of time. They don't have, if you give a kickback after the decision is made, it's legal now. They changed the law. You're reading laws, and the Supreme Court just fucking changed them. They changed them. They changed the thing. If you come to agreement beforehand and say, vote yes, and I will give you a check for $1,000, then they vote yes, then you give them the $1,000, you just bribed someone.
They can amend this now to include post-evaluation.
They can, but they won't. They just made it more. The Supreme Court just said post.
And oversight.
Oversight. Yeah, they don't want that. The Supreme Court does not want that. They don't want it because they're in trouble for taking bribes. Justice Thomas has been taking
I hear you.
Big time thing. Yes, this is fixable, but not by the people in charge. It is fixable. We can fix this problem. The Supreme Court isn't going to do it. The Senate isn't going to do it. The House isn't going to do it. And the president can't. So it won't get done. It won't get fixed. This is now unfixable by the people in charge. What are you going to do?
Makes people want to bust someone's ass.
I know. And that's why I'm saying that it will come to that a few years down the road. And I don't want it to. But I suspect that it will. What's the JFK quote? If peaceful change is impossible, violent change becomes inevitable. And I think he's right. That's where we're headed. Peaceful change about this bribery thing is now impossible.
You'd think judges would be more aware of this.
They want to get paid. Fixable, but alarming right at this moment. Yes, it's fixable and it's alarming. So, yeah, I think that's where we are. What time is it? I'm very hungry. I appreciate everybody who came in today. Thank you, Gonzo. Thanks, Sewells. Thanks, KBP and Shinsinto. Thanks, everybody, for being here. We had a nice doomer stream, and I can't really press the issue any more than I already have. And I don't want to be any more depressing than I already have. So I'm about to call it off for the day. Nice little stream. I'll be back on Monday with shocking news. So come by on Monday and we can determine whether or not Donald Trump we'll find out whether or not the court has made Donald Trump immune to all fucking crime, which he might be. It might happen. That's a Monday thing. So I will be back on Monday night at about 7:00 PST, West Coast, Best Coast, to determine that and tell you how it went and see and we can feel that together. So I thank everybody for being here today and feeling with me. Feelings, sometimes you can't control your feelings, and I'm feeling pretty damn bad right now. It seems like everything is unraveling, and I don't want it to, and there's nothing we can do about it.
We're truly fucked if the Supreme Court fucks up and determines presidents are immune. My God, reverse the entire USA.
Exactly. And that's what I'm worried. I'm worried, actually. Since I'm wrapping it up, I'll make a prediction. If they say that he is immune from certain things on Monday, Joe Biden will do nothing. He'll do nothing. He will write a sternly worded letter. Nancy Pelosi will complain about it on Twitter. They will say that this is wrong and it's bad, and they will do nothing. They will accomplish nothing.
If you're going to revolt over anything, this would be it.
Yeah, exactly. They would pass no bills. They would pass no legislation. They would do nothing other than complain about it. Then, when Donald Trump wins, he will break all the laws. He will abandon any law he wants to. And we will no longer be a country of laws. We will be a country of his whims. And that'll be the end of it. We'll just do exactly everything he wants. And everything he wants will be legal, and there will be nothing you can do to stop it. There will be no peaceful change possible. And with that horrible nightmare doom scenario, I am still going to vote for Biden. I am. I'm not voting for the man. I'm voting for the ideology. I really am. We can maintain the country a little bit longer. Maybe. That's where we are. That's what I'm looking at. I appreciate everybody who came in today. I am going to call it off now. I'm going to go eat some lunch. Thanks for coming, and now we'll see.